Hey guys, this is for lesson 1.6, multiply by one-digit numbers. So we just have 5 steps when we multiply by one-digit numbers. First of all, we're going to estimate, especially when we get going here to begin with. Estimating is huge. Estimating, you do it all the time. Ask your parents. When you go to the grocery store or when your parents buy anything, they usually estimate. They round numbers and then they'll multiply all the time. So what we're going to do is we're going to estimate before we multiply to make sure that our correct answer is really, if it's close to our estimate, then we're probably right. So we're always going to estimate here at the beginning. So step number 1 is estimate. So here's my multiplication problem, 3,954, and we're going to times it by 6. So here's how I want you guys to estimate this year. When we estimate, let's round it to the nearest number of our biggest place in the biggest place value. So for instance, we're in the thousands right now, 3,000. So we're going to round it to the nearest thousand. If it was 954, we'd round it to the nearest 100. If it was 54, we'd round it to the nearest 10. So for 3,954, remember when we round, we look at the number that we want to round. So we're rounding the thousands. So we look at the 3, and then we just look to the right. Remember, if that number is 5 or higher, we round up. If the number is 4 or lower, we keep it the same, or round down. So it's 9. So that means we're going to round up. So the nearest 1,000 from 3,000 is 4,000. So I'm going to rewrite our problem. We now have 4,000 times by 6. So these are really easy to do. We walked over this today. 6 times 4 is 24. And then we just add our 3 zeros. So we know that our answer, our final answer, when we're done with this multiplication problem, should be really close to 24,000. Okay, here we go. Multiplication. First step is we are going to multiply the ones. So here's our ones. Number 4, our 1, number 4. So 6 times 4 is 24. So we write down the 4 that was in the ones, and we regroup the 10, the 2. So 24, so we're going to regroup the 2. When we regroup, we keep it there. We're going to add it at our next step. So now we're going to multiply the tens. So 6 times 5 is 30, and now that's when that 2 comes in. Now we add that 2. So 6 times 5 is 30, and we add the 2. Now we're at 32. So we write down the 2, and we regroup the 3. Okay? Next step, we are going to multiply the hundreds. So we have 6 times 9, which is 54, and we add that 3 that we regrouped, the extra 300s that we regrouped. So 54 plus 3 is 57. So we write down our 7, and we regroup our 5. Last step is we're going to multiply the thousands. So 6 times 3 is 18, plus 5 is 23. And this time we don't have any more numbers that we're going to multiply with, so we just write down the full 23. And then we just need to add our comma. Okay, a couple things to keep in mind when we multiply. When we do single digit multiplication, it's not as big a deal, but when we start doing double digit multiplication, you have to be really careful about how you write down your numbers so that your numbers don't get mixed up and it's easy to add them at the end and easy to see what number you have. So make sure you write down your numbers exactly below the place value that you just multiplied so that you can read your number very easily. Okay? Here are your 2 extra credit problems. Again, I want you to estimate. This one's really similar to our example. Estimate and then multiply. So you have 3 problems to estimate and multiply.